Hi everybody, it's episode number 277 of the Tommy Maroon Sports Show, right here on WCTV. Great place to be. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Guardians because their season's up and running, as we all know by now, and it's been up and running for quite a while. There's a good look at a man named Stephen Kwan, who is not doing shabby. When I say he's not doing shabby, I mean he's got 60 hits, leads the Guardians. 11 doubles, also leads them. And a 3.17 average, which also leads the team. And Kyle Manzardo's also not having a shabby turnout this season. He's got 2 triples, which leads Cleveland, 10 home runs, and a 26 total for RBIs. But his batting average could use a little more work. Jose Ramirez has 12 stolen bases, so there is that. But anyways, looking back at Mr. Manzardo and his batting average, let me check it out for just a second. It is 216, yikes, but regardless, he does everything else, so there is that. Anyways, let's look at the series recaps, including a tough one last weekend in the inaugural rivalry weekend in the MLB, a 3-game weekend series between one team and their team's biggest rivals. For Cleveland, that happened to be the interstate Cincinnati Reds, where Terry Francona and the Cincinnati Reds, remember folks, he's now the Cincinnati Reds manager, no longer here in Cleveland. He got the last laugh, a 3-game sweep, oh boy. But anyways, Will Benson was the man that burned Cleveland all weekend long. He hit a home run in all 3 games, a 3-run bomb in Game 1, solo shy, I believe, in Game 2. And then 2 home runs in Game 3. Really lit it up like a Christmas tree out there, folks. My goodness. But anyways, Tanner Bybee had 6 innings and gave up 5 runs, however, in Game 1. And Will Benson, of course, just did a dandy. And Reese Hines hit a home run in Game 2. And who could possibly forget Carlos Santana having the lone RBI, I believe, for Cleveland in Game 3. So there was that. And then right there, the Cleveland Guardians against the Minnesota Twins. That series is knotted up at 1, where we saw Carlos Santana hit a home run in both games of the doubleheader. Of course, the first game, my goodness, it was raining like crazy, which is why it had to be delayed and pushed back for 2 extra games. Good Lord, that ain't good. But the game was ultimately finished and unfortunately ended with a Minnesota walk-off. Bo Naylor hit the game-tying double in Game 1. Stephen Kwan and Jose Ramirez had 3 hits apiece in Game 2. And Carlos Santana hit another home run in Game 2. So there is that. Let's look at the standings, shall we? And Cleveland sits in 4th place. Oh boy, but have no fear. They are the 3rd wild card. They would go up against Seattle if the season ended today, because Seattle's winning the division. How about that? How about that? Best team in baseball, let's see. That would be Detroit. They are 33-17. Guess who's got a 4-game series against them this week? And I tell you who's got 4-game series against them. Cleveland. And Tarek Skubal is going to be on the mound on Sunday for Detroit. That's going to be really scary. That's at 11:35 a.m. And I think it's because it's on a streaming service. That's why. And then on Memorial Day and up to Wednesday, it'll be against the Dodgers. And then the Angels, fortunately. So clearly the Guardians are in a rough patch of a tough schedule. Tigers for 4, Dodgers for 3. Catch a break with the Catch a break with the Angels for 3. And then it heats up again with the Yankees, the Astros, never sleep on them, and the Reds, who of course swept the Guardians out the Great American Ballpark. They have not won the Ohio Cup in over a decade, which is hard to believe. But if they win one game, and prevent the sweep, then that's it. Look at the Guardians having fun out there. They're playing games, of course, but anyways, hopefully things go well. We got to talk about the NBA because, man, oh man, it was wacky to say the least. You're looking at Oklahoma City Thunder against the Minnesota Timberwolves, folks. That was a good game, of course, for Oklahoma City only, where the Thunder won 114-88, where we saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this year's MVP. He won MVP over Nikola Jokic, of course, so there is that. And SGA had 31 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. And, of course, we saw Jalen Williams with 19 points, 8 rebounds. Chet Holmgren had 15 points for those OKC Thunder. Minnesota had Julius Randle score 28 and have 8 boards out there. So there is that. And, of course, there was also Anthony Edwards with 18 points. 18 points and 9 assists. Or no, 9 rebounds, excuse me. We're going to add some of the summary out there. Let's look and see. It says here that Minnesota shot 29.4% from three-point land, whereas Oklahoma City 52.4%. Well, they didn't shoot as many threes as Minnesota. In fact, 30 fewer threes, but you know what? OKC still got the job done. Everybody's complaining about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander flopping his way to the free throw line. Well, I tell you, that was definitely something. But anyways, enough on that. We had a wild game last night, one of the craziest games of the year, where Indiana took home a thriller out there by a final score of 138-135. Indiana ahead 1-9. And it's all courtesy of the man named Tyrese Halliburton, who had 31 points and 4 rebounds, but 11 assists. But none of his points were more clutch than the game-tying 2 off the top of the rim, high up in the air when the clock struck 0, and then went in. And we went to overtime out there, and one of the craziest shots I've seen in my life, at least recently. And of course, who could possibly forget Aaron Nesmith with 30 points. Nesmith, excuse me. Karl Anthony Towns had 35 points, 12 rebounds. And who else? Jalen Brunson had himself a dandy 43 points. And of course, in typical Tom Thibodeau fashion, there were only 7 players out there for the most part. 9 players used altogether, but 7 of them played 20 minutes or more. That's usually what he does, because I don't know why, but I do know that it was almost, it should have been New York winning that game at the Madison Square Garden. Just looking at it right there, they were up by 12. No, up by 14 with 2 minutes to go, and then it all unraveled. They were up by 8 with 35 seconds left. How do you blow that, folks? I don't know. They caught on fire, and ultimately it was not meant to be. Oh my goodness. Indiana shot 100 field goals and made 51 of them. Do the math, that's 51%. New York, 48 field goals, 94 shots, 51.1%. Indiana had 2 more assists. And the next out rebound them by 7. 1 more steal for New York. So where does everything stand? Well, as you might expect, considering the fact that it was only game 1 for both series, it is 1-0 Oklahoma City, 1-0 Indiana. So right now, tonight I ought to say it will be the OKC Thunder against Minnesota Timberwolves once again. And repeat, once again in game 2 out there. And looking at the bracket right now, should be entertaining stuff to say the least. Tomorrow it will be the Knicks against the Pacers. Remember, folks, ESPN's going to have the Western Conference Finals, and TNT's going to have the Eastern Conference Finals. So there is that. I think this is going to be the last year that we see the, what do you call it, what is it, ABC, ESPN cover the, what do you call it, good old NBA. So there is that. When did the finals begin? The finals begin June 5th. June 5th on ABC. The last time ABC will ever have the NBA finals for the foreseeable future. And if there were to be a 7th game, it'd be on June 22nd. So they're really stretching out that NBA Finals for a considerable amount of time, folks. But you know what? It should be entertaining to say the least. Should be entertaining, even though the poor Cavaliers didn't make it because they really disappointed. And the Pacers really had absolutely insane magic in that postseason run so far. Don't believe me what happened last night then. Oh my goodness, that was insane. Days until August 22nd. 92 days. 92 days till high school football is back, which if you do the math, 91 divided by 7, there's about 13 weeks till high school football, which is pretty entertaining. And you know what's also entertaining, folks? The OHSAA baseball playoffs are underway, hopefully. We should be playing Akron North, my Highland Hornets, but I don't know if we will today because of how poor the weather is. The Hornets are in Northeast 5, so there is that. Looking at, there were no games played yesterday. In fact, the Westlake Demons will be playing on the 24th by the looks of it, which is Saturday. And that will be at 10 a.m. against Willoughby South. We are so far scheduled to play Akron North at 5 p.m. Akron North 48th in the region. Oh, you guys, that ain't good. I got a bad feeling that game's going to be a 20-run beatdown. I feel bad for Akron North. I seriously do. Because you never want to see that happen. But you don't want to see the Hornets win. I always get nervous around this time of year because it's always tough to play baseball. It's always tough when the playoffs are on because one hand the game's over. You got 7 games to run the table out there. Highland, we are 18-3. We fell down. We're 37 in the state. How about that? Not too shabby. Number 11 in Division 3. Holben's going to be the team to look out for, of course. University School, not shabby either. The all-boys school in Hunting Valley, Ohio. They are 21-5. Holben 16-7, however. We're 18-3. We ran the table in the American Conference, going an incredible 14-0. Aside from that, we went 1, 2, 3, 3-1, 3-2, 3-3. I think 4-3 now that I stop and think about it because we played a Hoover, Medina, Padua. Is that it, really? 18-3 is what it says, so maybe it's me. Oh, yeah, 18-3. Because we played Roosevelt 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. That's hard to believe. What's not hard to believe is that there's good programming right here on WCTV. It's Wadsworth Community Television, after all. Tommy Maroon here, thanking you for watching as always. I hope you have a good week. I'll see you hopefully next week. We'll be talking more things coming up in the future. So long, everybody.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.